Hello and welcome to our Colour of the Month guide. In this series we'll explore how you can use your Citadel colour paint range to get some exciting colour combinations and army schemes. This time we'll be looking at how to paint Regal Blue, a shade of blue synonymous with loyal space marines, mortal nobility and celestial scales from the stars. For this guide I'll be showing you the steps on a Space Marine captain in Terminator armour, painting it as if it was an ultramarine. The paints and equipment we've used are on the screen now. All the steps that we'll be using can be used on lots of different models, so I'll show you two other examples later on. If you're new to painting or want to brush up on your skills, you can check out the Citadel Colour Painting Essentials playlist to learn all about paints and techniques. Before we even start painting, we'll undercoat our Marine in Chaos Black. This just gives us a nice solid dark colour for our blue, making our recesses darker for some instant shadows. Now we have our model ready, let's start by base coating it with Macragge Blue all over the armour with a medium base brush. But you can switch between brush sizes for different areas, just like a small base brush. You can be as neat or as messy as you wish at this stage, depending on if this is your first colour you're painting or maybe a small detail towards the end. No matter what, we still want to have a smooth finish, so make sure your paint is thinned and each layer is dried before applying the next. For my captain, I roughly need about 3 coats to get a solid finish, but you may find you only need 2 for your models. I've also left the recesses in some areas like the gaps of the armour in black undercoat, giving us some of that instant shading, but you don't have to if you want a slightly lighter tone. Next, we'll apply Tyran Blue all over the armour plates with a medium shade brush. This bright blue shade will give our colour a little bit of saturation and some light shadows once it's dried. Just be mindful of pooling if you have applied too much. So clean off your brush and soak away any excess if it looks too heavy, especially when it comes to those flat panels of the armour, but we still want some of those shadows to form and add some depth. At this point our armour is battle ready, but we want to take this colour to the next level and make our captain stand out from his brothers in battle. With that first shade dry and neat, we'll add a small recessed shade of Nuln Oil into those gaps and darkest areas. This will just define a lot of our panels with a sharper finish, and we'll make the next 2 steps stand out even more. Now we're ready to add some highlights to our armour. First, for our chunky highlight, we'll use Altdorf Blue with a small layer brush. We want to make sure that we have a nice sharp point to our brush, so roll it on the palette like so, bringing all those bristles together. You'll see straight away the difference in the straightness of our lines, so take your time and just keep your paint thin. Another great tip is to paint towards yourself in small strokes, keeping the lines in the same direction. Now our first highlight is done, we can add even more definition with a final edge highlight. And for that we'll be using Calgar Blue to create even smaller and brighter lines. We want to keep a lot of that first highlight visible, so we'll just highlight the most raised areas and edges with this colour. Just remember to keep your paint thin and those lines as straight as you can. If you want also, this is a great colour to use for battle damage, so you can add little chips and cuts with some small lines on the edges. The choice is totally yours. And with our last highlight finished, our Regal Blue on our Ultramarine is now complete and looking brash and bold. Now let's take a look at some other examples we've used the same steps on, but with slightly different materials. On our Seraphon Warrior, I've painted the scales with the same steps. The shadow in the recesses really lets those highlights make our scaly friend here look even sharper and more formidable. From cold-blooded warriors to those men of the mortal realms. The blue cloth and surcoat has a rich dark shade in the folds of the material, giving it texture and life. This is the same Cities of Sigmar Marshal I used for our Dark Bronze guide, so if you'd like to see how to do this effect, you can also check out that video too. For more tutorials, tips and tricks, check out our videos on the Warhammer YouTube channel, or head to your local Warhammer store where our amazing staff would be happy to help. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!